Bobby is looking at his own hand. It seems simple. Light hits the hand, his eyes collect it, and his brain shows him what is there. Except that is not what happens. Bobby has never seen this hand directly. Neither have you. Everything you see right now, the screen, the room, even the space between objects, is a picture assembled inside your skull. The world sends clues. Your brain quietly turns those clues into the finished scene you call reality. Before we finish, Bobby will remove one ordinary thing from that scene. When it disappears, his orange scarf, his face, and perhaps even the feeling of being Bobby will become much stranger than any parallel universe. Start with the eye. It is not a tiny camera sending complete pictures into the brain. Light activates millions of cells, and those cells send patterns of electrical activity through the optic nerve. The brain never touches the tree, the cake, or the person across the room. It receives signals. From those signals, it must guess what outside cause is most likely to have produced them. We can catch the guess happening. Each eye has a blind spot where the optic nerve leaves the retina. There are no light-detecting cells in that small patch. A piece of every view is genuinely missing. Yet you do not walk around with a black hole floating beside your nose. Your brain uses the colors, lines, and patterns around the gap to fill in what probably belongs there. If the blind spot lands on wallpaper, the brain continues the wallpaper. If it lands on empty sky, it gives you more sky. The missing piece feels seen even though no eye delivered it. Now move your eyes from one word on this screen to another. They do not glide smoothly. They jump in quick movements called saccades, several times each second. During those jumps, visual sensitivity drops sharply. Otherwise, the world would smear every time your eyes moved. Your experience hides much of the motion, then joins the useful pieces into one stable view. Look at a clock with a second hand, then snap your eyes toward it. The first second can seem to last too long. This stopped clock illusion happens because your sense of timing around the eye movement is being reconstructed. So the movie in your head is not a perfect live feed. It has gaps, cuts, corrections, and tiny edits. The amazing part is not that the edit sometimes fails, it is that the edit usually feels seamless. One influential idea says the brain works less like a camera and more like a prediction machine. It constantly prepares a best guess about what it is about to see, hear, and feel. Imagine Bobby walking through fog. A dark shape ahead could be a person, a mailbox, or a tree. The light reaching his eyes is too unclear to settle the question by itself. His brain combines the weak signal with what usually belongs in that place. Near a sidewalk, mailbox becomes a strong guess. At the edge of a forest, tree becomes stronger. Then new details arrive. If the shape moves, the old guess produces an error. The brain updates the scene. Prediction and correction chase each other so quickly that Bobby experiences one object becoming clear. Neuroscientist Anil Seth uses a sharp phrase for this. Perception is a controlled hallucination. The hallucination is the brain's construction. The control is the stream of evidence pushing back from the world. A dream can run with very little outside control. Waking perception cannot. If Bobby predicts a doorway where there is a wall, the wall wins when he walks into it. Reality gets a vote. Now remove the ordinary thing we promised, color. The orange in Bobby's scarf is not sitting on the cloth like paint inside paint. The cloth reflects a mixture of light wavelengths. Cells in Bobby's eyes respond to that light. Neural systems compare their activity with surrounding light and create the experience called orange. The experience is real, but orange as experience happens in the observer. Another creature with different sensors could divide the same light into a different world. Some animals detect ultraviolet patterns that human eyes miss. The same object can support more than one useful experience. Raw reality would not look like a super detailed human picture. It would include wavelengths you cannot see, vibrations you cannot hear, and timescales too fast or slow for you to notice. There is no single human-shaped view hiding underneath. Context can even change the color or brightness you experience. Place identical gray squares in different shadows, and they can look different because the brain is estimating the lighting, not merely measuring the square. That shortcut is useful. A white page should still look like the same page indoors and at sunset, even though the light reaching your eyes changes. Perception favors stable objects over raw measurements. Attention edits the scene too. In change blindness experiments, a large object can change during a brief interruption, and viewers often miss it, even while believing they saw the whole image. You feel surrounded by detail, but attention is more like a moving spotlight. Outside the center, the brain often keeps a compact summary and assumes the world will still be available when you look again. Hearing is built as well. A noisy sound can be understood as different words depending on the sentence around it. Once the brain settles on one meaning, it becomes difficult to hear the same noise innocently again. Even sight can change sound. When lip movements suggest one syllable and the ears receive another, many people experience a third sound. The brain combines clues instead of respecting the borders between senses. Then Bobby puts his real hand behind a screen and watches a fake hand on the table. A brush touches both hands in the same rhythm, one seen, one felt. After a while, the fake hand can begin to feel like part of his body. The effect is not identical for everyone, but it reveals that ownership is also an inference built from sight, touch, and body position. Bobby's body is not represented by one permanent photograph in the brain. It is a model that must be updated, where the limbs are, what belongs to him, and which sensations share one cause. The model also listens inward. Heartbeats, breathing, hunger, temperature, and tension help build the basic feeling of being a living self located here, rather than somewhere else. That does not mean Bobby is fake. A whirlpool is a real pattern even though its water constantly changes. Bobby may be a real, changing pattern the brain keeps rebuilding from the body and world. And ordinary perception is not the same as a medical hallucination. In normal seeing, predictions are tightly corrected by incoming signals. When that balance changes, experiences can become less anchored to shared evidence. Predictive processing is influential, but scientists still debate how much it explains and which mechanisms do the work. Illusions are clues, not a finished answer to consciousness. Still, the central lesson survives. Evolution did not need to build a window showing everything exactly as it is. It needed a fast dashboard that helps a creature find food, avoid danger, and move through the world. A map can be useful without becoming the land. Your conscious world may be the brain's map, compressed, colored, stabilized, and centered on the needs of one particular body. So which would you choose? The useful human reality you have now, the raw flood of signals underneath it, or one day inside the reality built by a completely different animal? Pick one in the comments and tell us why. Bobby chooses the useful world, not because it is a perfect copy, but because it can be tested. He reaches for the table pushes back, his model corrects itself. He looks down at the scarf. The orange vanishes into invisible wavelengths, electrical signals, predictions, and comparisons. Then the color returns, not as a property he found, but as an experience his brain made. Bobby has never seen reality without a Bobby-shaped filter. Neither have you. But the world is not trapped inside your head. It is the stubborn mystery outside, forever sending clues, while a mind inside the darkness turns those clues into light.